but you can't see anything. It's just, you know everything is there. So you go forward, you finally get your gun tub. And the reason you're up there in a storm like that, because subs can't operate when it's like that. But what happened, there's 40 or 60 ships in a convoy. We have to go up and stand in the bow of the ship, at least one of us, and look straight down, because there's cargo ships, troop ships all around us, and we're escorting them. So you have to look straight down, because the ship, one of the cargo ships, one that's closest to you, will be towing a spar. It's a piece of wood that looks like a cross, like Jesus died on.
Uh-huh.
And that you have to look down and be sure you keep that in sight. Otherwise, you're crawling up the tailpipe of the ship in front of you.
Huh.
But anyway, so then you come off of watch from 12 to 4, mid to 4, and you check and see if there's any more scuttlebutt. You drink another cup of Jimmo, and then you head for the rack. You hit the rack. You don't undress or anything. You lay down in your wet uniform on the bunk, and about 5 minutes later, you're flaked out like a bag inspection, stopped and rolled. That's Navy talk.
I see.
Okay, but that's all that. I could go on about the Atlantic. We sunk a submarine over there outside of Le Havre, France. But we go on with the rest of the story and talk about the prisoners of war.
Well, what I'd like to talk about, or maybe you can tell us, you've told me before, a great question to ask my guests, or asking them, what is their best day ever? And you told me about one of your best days. And I think this might just put a little nice temporary cap on your war history. But you told me about arriving in San Francisco on a ship.
Yeah, we'd been on the invasion of Saipan, Tinian, and Guam, and supporting the Marines and the Army. And then after that, we had to go circle back later on and pick up casualties. There was no place to tie up, and I can't, it's been so long ago, I can't remember which side of the island we were on, but most likely the leeward side. And we dropped the hook, and there was just all kinds of activity. And so anyway, all of a sudden, like a deck, I don't know what to call them, but it's like a big flat barge with a pusher engine on it. It was like a flat barge. And I looked up, and I hear rows and rows of body baskets. And in these body baskets, there's Marines and Army. I think these were mostly Marines strapped into those baskets, just like corpse. And so they hoisted them aboard ship, took them off, laid them down on the deck, and in rows. And it was raining, I remember. They were getting wet, but it didn't seem to matter. And a hospital men would come by. They'd come aboard with the men, injured men, and they would hold their arm up like this and read their tags around their wrist, and then they'd go on to the next person, and they forgot to put their arm down. The guys couldn't do it. They were in total shock. And us guys would go around and talk to them, or try to talk to them, and put their arms down, and just try to talk to them. And I don't know whether we made them feel better, but it made us feel better. And it was just horrible. They were Asiatic. They used to call it. They call it post-traumatic stress now. But that term wasn't used in World War II. It was Asiatic. We used to kid about it. We called it ill at ease in the South Seas, being Asiatic. And a lot of these guys had, I'll think about it in a minute. Anyway, I'll tell you the rest of that. See, where was I now?
So you were picking up these people, and you were heading for San Francisco, right?
We took the basket cases out and met up with a hospital ship proposed, and we transferred those over to the hospital ship, and the rest of the men were walking wounded, and they were really in bad shape. And they had that 5,000-yard stare. I've got pictures that show that. It's just an amazing thing. They're looking, but they're not seeing anything.
Yeah.
They're just looking. And they would sit on the decks all the way around the ship and lean back against the bulkheads. And they still had their rifles, and they were still loaded.
Mm.
You want to open that side? Yeah. And they were still loaded. They were still ready to go. And they would talk amongst themselves. And, I mean, we got in on some really great conversations, but I won't relive those with you now. Except I remember I was walking one of those guys. They called it BAR crazy. These guys were BAR crazy. And one of them was sitting there. He looked at me. Hey, he said something like, "Hey, you." And I turned around, and he brought his rifle up and pointed at me and went, like he was going to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these guys were wandering around the ship all the way home. But the wounded were were wandering the ship at night, and we had to keep our hatch locked into our quarters because they would wander around and come in. You couldn't stop and get a drink of water anywhere on the ship unless you traveled in pairs because these guys were actually dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they were in bad shape. So we come to San Francisco, and the guys were laying all over the deck like you would imagine they would when they don't feel good. They weren't excited about anything. They weren't even excited about getting home. I don't think most of them realized where we were. But we started under the bridge, and everything was fairly quiet. And all of a sudden, I looked up, and the people had stopped their cars. That was the time of the morning. The subnets were open. That was when the jobs were finishing, and the new shift was going for the defense workers.
Mm-hmm.
So they were getting off work, and they were reporting to work. So the bridge was full of cars going and coming.
The bridge you're talking about, the
Golden Gate Bridge.
Golden Gate Bridge.
So all these cars had stopped. I didn't realize it. And because we'd gone through the subnets, me and my buddy were standing up on the bow so we could see San Francisco come towards us as we come in. And we were so happy to be home for a change. And so all of a sudden I looked up there. The people had gotten out of their cars, and they'd come to the rail. And they started shouting down at the troops. And they were saying all kinds of things like, "Welcome home. We're so glad to see you. Glad you made it. We love you." And all those type of things, greetings of every kind. And the troops began to perk up a little bit. And it was at sunset, sunrise was behind them. And I had something happen that day that never happened before. But the skies opened up like there was a rainbow right down behind where all this was going on. And it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience because it was just as if there were angels up there looking down. It was an experience I'll never forget. And I started to cry. I remember, they said, big boys don't cry. Well, yes, they do. I've seen a lot of them cry. They cry from happiness, and they cry because they're sad or just upset in general. But that was a great experience, and I'm not ashamed to tell anybody that I cried that day. But it proved something to me, that America is the greatest country in the world to live in. When it gets down to the nitty-gritty, they pull together, they support each other, and they put other things aside for another day. But they support each other, and they work their asses off to win the war. Because freedom isn't free. It's just absolutely the only thing. And if anybody tries to take it away from us, they better damn sure be sure they can do it, and they don't ever try.
Yeah. Jack, we appreciate you serving the country during World War II and the sacrifices that you made. We spent a lot of time leading up to this, but I don't want to discount the fact that you had found love in your life. You have a wonderful wife, Mel, who you're...
Can I tell you how I met my wife?
Sure.
Okay, when I got out, I'd been out a few days, and of course we were celebrating. We were drinking and smoking too much, I guess, all of us. But we were just letting loose and unwinding. And kitchens weren't for cooking. Kitchens were for a bar. Every bar and every home in town had a big row of liquor bottles sitting up there. And the refrigerator was full of beer. And we would drink all night, have all kinds of, tell jokes and just act like a bunch of dummies. But we were glad to get home. So this morning I got up with a buddy of mine, and I knew that Montebello was just a town right near us, and they were having a parade that day. Everybody was having parades, but this day was Montebello's turn to have a parade. So he and I went up there. George Irving actually got in his old car and went up there, parked, and got out and walked up the parade on Whittier Boulevard. And we got there just in time, and we heard the band coming down Whittier Boulevard, and they were making a lot of noise. It was a pretty good band, a lot of horns, drums, exciting. And we stood there and looked up and down the street, and here it come. And so it got to where we were, and I looked up, and here's a girl in the front of the parade twirling her baton, and she had on little white boots and long tan legs, beautiful blonde hair, big blue eyes, and a killer smile. And I swear to God, she was looking right at me. And I turned to my buddy and I said, "There is the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life." I said, "She is absolutely gorgeous." I said, "I'm going to marry her." And he says, "Good luck with that." And a year later, we were married.
And
she's still my girlfriend.
She's still here, and I see that picture of her on the wall with her long white boots.
Yeah.
No baton, but
no,
there she is.
I think she still has her baton. But anyway, we've been married 72 years now, I think. Well, this month is our anniversary.
Yeah. Jack, you started a business out of your service, and you owned a meat market in your business there in Alhambra. What made you decide to start a business? And I would ask you what gave you the courage to start a business, but everything that you've just told us about, you've had more courage in your life than any of us will ever know.
I think it was a little bit of luck, but actually it's the way you act sometimes. It's what you do before you go into business that enables you to go into business. Because I mean sincerely that when you do things and the way you conduct your life, other people are watching. You don't know that they're watching. Some people never get watched, but some people get noticed sometimes. I was working for a guy named Jack Tipton up on Huntington Drive. I always arrived to work early. If need be, I worked late to help him out of something special. I never punched a clock. I worked a regular day, and I didn't put in that much overtime. But if I could do anything to help, I was a good worker. I was honest. He knew I was honest. And so there came an opportunity to go into business. And because Jack already had a business, he said one day to me, he says, "Jack, I want to set you up in business."
Mm-hmm.
He says, "You've always been good to me. I've relied on you, and I hate to lose you as an employee. But you earned the right to be in the business, and I wanted to set you up." So he set me up on the business in Alhambra, and I was there for 27 years. And I worked really hard to make it a success, which it was. But that's what I mean about, I think my childhood and the fact that I learned respect made a lot of difference. And I run my life right. Made a difference in my having an opportunity. If I had been a belligerent kid, which I was, when I got out, I guess I was still a kid. I was a man, but I was 24. But that opportunity came to me because of the way I conducted my life.
Mm-hmm. I think people forget about that. They don't realize people are watching. And what's interesting today is now we have social media. And I've always been impressed at 95 years old, you've got your Instagram account and your Facebook account, and you can pay attention to what people are doing. But people are watching more today